It's been a very productive summer for Somar Capital. Our fact-based, eyes on the street process has identified very good short and long investments, and we've quickly acted on them. Our portfolio management has been very crisp, and we adjusted very proactively to widely changing valuations that occurred in the last few months. And we've had a tremendous amount of support from our investors, who some of them have even invested additional funds into Somar, and we're grateful for that. On the consumer side, the pandemic has brought additional changes to the ones that we were tracking. So it clearly accelerated the digital transition into digital media consumption and e-commerce. But what was new, and it was something we were not counting on, was the older customers, consumers, some that we thought would never transition online. They were forced for security and availability reasons to try ordering online for the first time in their lives, and they converted well, and they are enlarging our opportunity. Another trend that the pandemic brought was the cocooning trend, we call it, where a lot of consumers are investing more in their houses and investing in home improvement and also additional furniture for their houses. On the corporate side, the big additional change from the pandemic we saw was a big acceleration in the digital transformation efforts. First and foremost, to support the work from home scenario that played out and may play out for many months to come. The second one was just to build resilience. It was a wake-up call that on a short notice the business may need to change the way it operates, so there needs to be redundancy, alternative ways of getting the work done, which requires more investment in IT, more investment in software, especially on the cloud, and also cybersecurity, and that opened good opportunities. It was not only bad news for corporate, they also got some savings as business travel was canceled. There's also a question mark on whether they would need as much office space going forward, real estate space going forward, and if so, does it need to be all center of the city, or there will be more cheaper satellite offices? So that's opening savings for a lot of corporates, but of course presents a headwind to real estate investment trusts. Now, most of the businesses were ahead of this prior to the pandemic, but some of them were behind, and some of them that are in difficult position to begin with, if they are behind on the digital transformation and they need to react, they may be lacking the time to build a good enough offer for their customers, and maybe losing market share going forward. Some of them we're tracking very closely, and when valuation makes sense, we're taking advantage of the short opportunity. Some people may be surprised to learn that actually the pandemic has been tailwind for Somar's investment process for three clear reasons. First of all, most of the conferences, the bank conference, if not really all, are now done virtually through Zoom, which allows us to attend more meetings in different geographies and stay even closer to the companies than we would otherwise. As we know, we follow the growing trends and what the next disruptor is going to come by looking at what's happening on the venture capital world during the pandemic, and I think this will continue. Most VCs are pitching to potential founders through the internet, and so there's a lot of dialogue on the venture space that occurs online that we get to listen and learn from, and that would be harder, and was harder before the pandemic. And finally, the companies are just much more open to talk with investors. They lose less time commuting and traveling to conferences, so it's much easier to get on their calendars, to get a direct phone call. They also update the market more often, so it's been much easier to stay on top and to do our work with COVID. I feel very happy and confident about where Somar as a firm is right now. We have a very resilient long-term group of investors that have been very supportive, most of them since day one. We have a very high quality senior tenured management team, and I'm very happy to have them work with me every day. And finally, we are very comfortably above break even. That allows us to really think long term, make the right investments to build the firm to become a better investment day after day. And I look very to the future with a lot of confidence, and I'm looking forward to coming back and update you, and most importantly, delivering the returns that your trust deserves.